That can be the title of his memoir.
Unrequited boner.
I'd read it.
It's time to take A Therapeutic Dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hello, I am Ramona Ramirez Higgins. Hi.
Hey, friend.
Hi.
What a ride this episode of Summer House was. It starts with Spin the Bottle and ends with a heartfelt discussion about systemic racism. And this is why I love reality TV.
This is why I love Summer House.
Yeah, truly.
It was a great episode. The mid-season trailer for the remainder of the season is Emmy-worthy as far as I'm concerned. Just from the minute and a half they gave us, I can't wait. I'm so glad we have a whole other half. Not ready to say goodbye to these fools yet.
No, and I'm so curious to see how this all shakes down. And again, I love Summer House because in that mid-season trailer, it closed with a scene of Amanda, Lindsay, and Sierra talking, but they're all dressed as like in age makeup, you know, like in like old lady wigs and wrinkles and costumes, with Amanda sincerely considering the status of her marriage, you know? And I don't know why it's so, it delights me. I love that they're willing to talk about that. I love that they're willing to go to those extremes to get dressed up. And the whole combination is like so specific to Summer House.
Completely.
It's just so their vibe is that at one of these ridiculous costume parties, like the most intense, important conversations go down.
I love it. I love it. So great. Such a great show. Such a great show. I slept on it for so long, and that's okay. I came around. It's totally fine.
The beauty of streaming, man. It's always there for us whenever we're ready for it.
Yes, it is. It is. I thought of you because when was it? I had the house to myself yesterday, the day before yesterday. And I was like, should I put some Vanderpump Rules on and do my chores and all? Not quite. I will. I promise, though. I trust you, and everybody loves this. Everybody loves it.
Listen,
anyway.
Married to Medicine awaits me, and like everyone whose opinion I respect and whose taste I mirror in reality TV loves that show. And I'm like, I don't know how long. It's been on for like 9 seasons or something. I have a lot of work to do to catch up, but I know the day will come. I think about it all the time, and I know the day will come when I'm like, yeah, this is the time for me to start Married to Medicine. And I'm sure I'll love it and I'll be so excited to talk about it. But, you know, it awaits me.
Yeah. They all await.
Mm-hmm.
They all await. Well, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay. This is Summer House, Season 10, Episode 7, called Makeups and Makeouts. Accurate title. Very succinct. Completely, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we start on Saturday night. This is after everyone has been at the vineyard all day and everyone is wasted still. And so they all agree to this game of truth or dare, spin the bottle. And it was interesting to me that Amanda started this game by trying to make concessions for the married or dating people, as if, you know, you don't have to kiss if you're married or dating. And it's Ben who just screamed at Bailey about, you know, I'm not trying to fuck my mate's missus. Ben, who says, no, there's no different rules for different people. It's like, well, dude, like, where are you on this subject, sir? I'm very confused. But everyone is in, you know, they're in good spirits and they let it slide. And then we just get into a sequence of everybody kissing like you do in Truth or Dare. And the ones that stuck out to me, of course, were Ben and Bailey. They're, you know, assigned by the bottle to kiss. And it's like a deep, serious kiss with like a lean back into the couch. Like it's long. It goes on for a while. And then we get their confessionals where Ben, which was unnecessary, he goes, I hate her sense of humor, but at least she's a good kisser. So, you know, whatever. I was like, whatever. You just made a whole scene. Whatever. And then Bailey tells us that was not a hate kiss. That was a good kiss. And I'm sure it was.
It definitely looked like it. And Ben saying that he hates someone's sense of humor when we don't really see his yet and haven't. This is episode 7. After watching the mid-season trailer, and obviously I reserve the right to retract this if what they showed us isn't actually what happens, but we hear that soundbite of Amanda saying, Ben wanted to fuck me in Italy. Didn't he say something like that in the
That's
mid-season
what I
trailer?
thought I heard, but it blew by so fast, and
Yeah.
I didn't think to go back. But yes, that is what it sounded like for sure. But it could be one of those Frankenbite things where
Right.
she's like, it's not like Ben said he wanted to fuck me in Italy.
Right.
And they just pulled the part
Or-
that said, Ben said he wanted to fuck me anyways.
Right. Or Kyle said, Ben wants to fuck you,
Right.
Anyway,
Mhm.
yeah. So you just never know. And I wasn't contesting. I absolutely see what Bailey was talking about. It was never about that. But I get it. I get it. I get why he's getting the criticism. I understand 100%. So we see more pecks in the lips. Bailey and Sierra kiss, and the guys literally flip out. And I told Josh when we were watching, I don't know about you, Margie, but when I was playing Truth or Dare and or Spin the Bottle, I'm Gen X. I'm mid Gen X. I don't think I'm elder Gen X, but I'm middle Gen X. Maybe I'm elder Gen X. Oh, God, I hope I'm not. Okay, thank you for shaking your head. No. Just because Gen X gets a bad rap, and quite frankly, I understand why, and I am hashtag not that Gen X. My point is, if it landed on a girl, you respun. You did not kiss a girl, at least in my Gen X circles. If a girl spun and it landed on a girl, you didn't kiss a girl. You respun till it landed on a guy.
We did. We kissed girls,
Oh.
but only because the whole point of that game is for the boys. It's a performance for the boys, When it was played like in mixed company, it was like so the boys could
Oh.
kiss the girls and the boys could watch girls kiss.
Got it.
And then when it was the
yes.
boys' turn to kiss, as happened in this sequence, they would put a finger between their lips so they wouldn't actually have to touch because gay panic.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
But yeah, Jesse was like jaw unhinged when Sierra and
Truly.
Bailey kissed. I'm like, and I do believe that's when Kyle's boner began, which wound up ending the whole game. Like, I think he just could not.
No.
I know, but everyone was so overwhelmed but again, they're all wasted and yeah.
What I didn't finish my thought earlier about, girls kissing. I love it. I love that it just is like, fuck it, dude. Make out with whoever the fuck you want to make out. I don't give a shit what's in their underwear. And I feel sad on behalf of Gen X. My own Gen X experience feels like it was so fucking binary. And that's all we knew. We didn't question it. And I'm glad for younger generations that they're not beholden to this bullshit that someone told them and we never thought to question it. I never thought to question it.
But in
Sad.
games like that, it's not like I went into it going like, I'm going to experiment sexually. It was literally just like everyone's so drunk and everyone just wants to kiss. You know what I mean? It just wasn't like, at least for me, it wasn't that deep. I imagine if there were people in the group who were questioning or having curiosities in other directions, it was probably thrilling in different ways. It's just a game. It's just fucking spin
It's
the
just a
bottle.
game.
It's not that deep.
It's not that deep.
It just feels like sexuality is deeper than kissing.
For
It's
sure.
like who you like and who you want to be around and that kind of stuff. And I don't know if these games really give us a good window into that. I don't know. Anyways, we see Ben's tiny butt because he jumps naked in the pool. He has like a little kid butt. And then Jesse and Levi make out and like it should have been hot, but like Jesse, I don't know, that mouth, man. I got problems with that mouth.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was doing,
fair.
but it seemed arrhythmic. I was like, "What are you doing?" Ah,
It's a real shame. It's a real
Yeah.
shame about Jesse because if he had a different personality, it would be so nice. If he was just a completely different person.
I think he might eventually be. He'll have to be because his whole persona is Summer House, and when this inevitably comes to an end, whenever that is for him, I'll be curious to see who he is. Actually,
Me too.
I don't know.
We wish you luck
Mm-hmm.
as on your discovery. Oh, Kyle and Amanda kiss. Yeah, Kyle's neediness was palpable in this episode. In his confessional, he shared he was very grateful for a good kiss. He hasn't had one in a while. Oh, yikes.
I'm just so
Yikes.
skeptical of Kyle too, because I'm like, is that true? You're drunk and you're out all the time, and there's endless rumors of you hooking up. Like, I think you maybe haven't had a good kiss with Amanda in a while. I cannot feel sorry for this guy. I'm trying to access, there's a moment where I I felt some compassion for him. But mostly I just see him as someone who's just he's really curating his story, you know? He's really choosing what facts he includes in consideration and what he really chooses to leave out. So, whatever.
Oof. So then we see West getting really touchy with Sierra. He is sitting next to her. He puts his foot on her leg. He scoots his chair closer. He puts his hand on her waist, her thigh.
And it's the two of them. Like, she's not batting him off. And everyone in the room is noticing and they're not stopping. And I was like, ooh, like that's the intrigue of this dumb game. It's those two.
Totally.
And then Sierra gives a confessional that is so, talk about incomplete. Once we get to the end of this episode, she gives us the cocktail party version of what's actually going on. And she says that she and Wes still like each other and they both miss their friendship. And obviously they're still attracted to each other. And she goes real lightheartedly. She's like, we're in a weird state of limbo. And so it's all just coming out so disorganized and a bit crazy. And later we learn that there are deep, historically rooted issues at play here. To me, Sierra at the beginning of this episode and at the end of this episode is like the crux of what therapy has done for me. Like I would go into therapy and say like, my life's a mess. And I'd talk about it like it's a joke or like it's a story. And the therapist would like drop me into like, what's really going on? And it's deep and it has roots and it's fucking up a lot of shit. And like, I have to learn how to communicate those things so I can let people get close to me and let myself get close to other people. But wouldn't it be nice if it was just this? Like, it's just disorganized and a little bit crazy. And it's like, it's actually, the problem is like 250 years old.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
for sure. So Wes and Sierra are dared to make out, but they pass. Were they joking?
Sierra basically said, like, we're not doing that. And then the party ended.
Ew. And then Kyle gets a boner and exits with a pillow over his dong. And I was like, oh, God, I'm not shaming anyone's biology. I know that the bodies react in a way that we don't have any control over, but I just don't want to know about it. I don't want to talk about not Kyle's. Not Kyle's unrequited boner. Ugh.
Unrequited boner.
Grody.
Oh my God, that can be the title of his memoir.
Unrequited boner.
I'd read it. Then everyone, after Kyle takes his boner out of the room, everyone else adjourns and leaves the living room. Kyle winds up in Club Send It, DJing, of course. Jesse corners Sierra in a hallway and does this long, extended vocal riff that made me want to punch my TV. I was like, is this still going on? And Sarah's just, first of all, she's looking off into the middle distance. Then she turns her head and looks at him with like a look of disgust. The guy does not read the room and continues riffing. And then she just stares at him and walks off without saying anything. And I was like, Sierra, you are America. Jesse, stop it.
Theater department, college, when you were at rehearsals and you heard that dude down the hall that you know holds everybody fucking hostage with their pick-me energy. And you're just like, oh my God. And Jesse, regardless of you being on a Bravo show, like you're not going to get that stink off you.
But I just kept thinking like, Jesse, there are so many wonderful theater kids out there in the world. Go find your tribe. Like those are the people who will eat it up when you riff in their face like that and they'll join you and harmonize and it'll be great. But like, what were you doing to Sierra? She looked tortured. And how did you not see that? And stop it. Yeah. It's just crazy. He makes me insane. So much singing.
Yeah.
Oh, so much singing. Anyways.
Oh, I liked this scene. I liked it. So Ben goes to Bailey's room. Both of their hearts are racing, which I loved that they shared it with each other. It almost felt like the kiss was a modality they needed to like get them to get over the tension from the previous night. It was the previous night, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was odd. Like their bodies were close. It was a very intimate conversation on a bed.
I'm a little wary of Ben, man.
I can see it.
It was initiated by Ben. Bailey was under her covers and he was all over her with his leg pressed up against hers. It's not like she was snuggling into him. He knows he did a bad thing and he gave an apology of sorts. He starts by saying, "We're okay, we're all good." And I was like, oh, that's a weird launch to this. Like, how about, how are you? Are you all good? But he doesn't say that. He says, "I didn't feel good about yesterday. It's better to let it go." I was like,
Yeah.
so, and Bailey reads, this is not going to be a conversation. So she's like, "I'm fine to let it go. And if you're still upset, you can be upset." And I thought that was I appreciated her for being like, you can have your experience, whatever the hell that was. I'm not going to try and talk you out of it, but okay. And then he tries to be cute. He plays his cute boy card, in my opinion, where he goes, "No, no, no, I'm good. And you can still think I'm a dick if you want." And she tells the truth. This is why I like Bailey. She says the
Same.
truth directly. She's like, "I don't want to think you're a dick. I thought you were hot and funny." And he's like, "We're good. I'm sorry." And she said, "I accept it. Thank you. I appreciate it." And they hug. And then in her confessional, I was glad to hear her perspective on this. She says, "We are moving forward, but the crush on Ben is dead." And I think it was dead in the moment he stormed up to the room and confronted her in that weird way. And, you know, she says it's like, we're both too passionate. It's too much fire for me. I need sweet. And I was glad to hear her say that. And I was glad to hear that play out in the rest of this episode with her thinking about Carl and reaching out to Carl and bravely arranging a date with Carl.
Same, for sure. And I mean, I've been thinking about it a lot, or about their interaction that we saw last week. I get it. I get why the house reacted like they did to him. I do. I understand it.
And he seems
Yeah.
to too. He's just not very equipped at like
No.
going deep. He's no KJ about it. And I don't think he and Bailey are meant to be long life friends anyway.
Absolutely
So I
not.
think they're both just like, it's fine. That was gross, and we'll always keep a distance because like I don't want to feel that way ever again.
Yeah.
I don't like what happened. So let's just make sure we're
Yeah.
circling wide enough to keep that out of the mix.
I'm hoping that he's out of her system at this point, because I think she can do, from what we know about Ben, from what he's shown us, I think she deserves someone a little bit more. I know that she talks about where she is, how she feels about herself and her confidence and all that stuff, but I don't think she sees the fact that she is in tune with herself and knows something is amiss. She might not be able to name it specifically, but she knows something's getting her attention on her inside. Something's making her feel unsettled. I think that is better than not knowing what the fuck is going on or not being in tune at all. You know?
Yeah, and they both deserve someone that's a match for them.
Yes,
and
that's
like
all I'm
they are
saying,
not a
yes.
match. Like that is now really clear, and so she can move on cleanly. I don't think he was ever curious about opening that door with her, so now
No.
they can both just keep it moving.
Yeah. So we end the night with a cut to West reclined on the couch and the coffee table hiccuping.
It was so funny because it came off of Bailey going, "I need sweet," and the editors cut right to West like, just like a very sweet mess of a man. Then the next morning, it's Sunday morning, and everyone's waking up hungover. And then we're in Amanda and Kyle's bedroom in this like really chilling scene that felt like it was from, what was that movie? Like Marriage Story or whatever with Adam
I never
Driver.
saw it.
Skip it.
That's
It's
what I
not
heard.
fun. It is It's really well done and terrible to watch because it's a similar dynamic where Amanda is walking into the shower and says, "I'm going to take a shower." And Kyle says, "I'm going to shower with you." And she just goes, "No," and turns on her heel and walks back across the room. And he looks hurt and stunned. And she's like, "You shower first and I'll shower after you." And he's like, "No, I'll shower with you." And she goes, "No." And then she says explicitly, "I don't want to shower with you." And I was like, get me out of this room. Get me out of this
Yeah.
relationship. It's over.
I was wondering if she had to like dissociate a little bit when
It looked
she made
like
out
she
with him.
was. Ugh.
Oh God, I don't know, Kyle. You made your shower. You made your shower. So in the next scene, Sierra and Amanda are in bed, and Sierra notes that Wes has been overly flirty with her over the weekend. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, on the other side of that conversation, Ben, West, and Kyle and Jesse have made what Jesse calls a boys' pile on the couch. And West says he doesn't remember being touchy with Sierra all night. And we get a little confessional from him saying, I haven't had a proper conversation with Sierra yet. So he doesn't know what's going on with her. Maybe she's at the point now where this is something, but I don't know. So,
I had so much hope for him last week and not last episode. And now I'm like, dude, let's just move on.org from this whole thing. This is really, Sierra deserves someone with a little bit more emotional intelligence than West
I
has.
appreciated at the end of the episode, it sounds like he's thought a lot about this. He was really clear in what he said. Because remember in that reunion where he was just like,
Yes.
and he couldn't answer any questions. He could not speak clearly. He was pitting out his suit jacket. But at least at the end of this episode, when they do have a conversation, he says directly what I did, what I would do differently, and I'm sorry. So it felt like something.
It does feel like something. I'm not saying that there has not been growth. I have absolutely seen, and I applaud West for it really does seem like he has spent some time thinking about his behavior, thinking about his actions and how they affect other people, especially with someone that he cared about as much as he cares about Sierra. I'm just saying that I want someone for her that doesn't have as steep of a learning curve that Wes seems to have.
Of course, and she wants that for herself, but I see myself in her, and and she said in a confessional later, you don't choose who you like, who you love, who you're attracted
That's
to.
so true.
Of course, we all want someone who's already solved all their problems, but that's not what chemically is happening. And so that would be great if we could all follow those rules. No one would ever, the divorce rate wouldn't be 60%. We'd all get it right, and it'd be great. And I'm so on their ride with them because I really feel their chemistry and I love them together. And he's not as advanced as she is.
No.
In lots of ways. So I don't know what to do with it either, I guess.
Yeah.
For both of them, I wouldn't know what to do with it either. It's just a lot of information to work with.
So they leave, they go home to the city Sunday at 11:30 a.m. They all leave to go back to New York City for the week. And on Monday, we see Bailey looking adorable, sophisticated, elegant. I loved the dress. I loved the shoes. I loved her hair.
Adorable.
All of it.
So cute.
So Bailey calls Carl to make a coffee or lunch date to fill him in on the weekend. And then we see a flashback to Bailey waking up on Sunday morning and wishing she could talk to Carl. But he wasn't there that weekend. And didn't she say something like, if Carl had been there, I would have just been there talking to Carl, after what happened with Ben. She says to Levi, he's so nice, it's making me cry. And he is so sweet on the phone. He's glad that she called, definitely wants to hang out, and they hang up. And she says, what a sweetie. I love that. They both feel like they're cut from that same kind of open-hearted, sensitive cloth. Mm-hmm. Carl more than ever. I love watching the evolution of Carl Radke.
Me
I do
too.
so much.
And speaking of sweeties, we touched down with KJ and Dara at a boxing gym. KJ's so cute. This boy, he's everything all the time. When is he going to have a bad episode? It seems impossible. Anyways, this is just a really sweet little date with the two of them. He wraps her hands for her, and then he instructs her on how to hit the bag. And he's saying the most important thing is that you pull your hands back, protect yourself. And I was like, oh, I don't know why I found that endearing and charming and sweet. And then we get some information about Dara that I was like, I don't know if I know you any better from this, but okay. In a confessional, she says she was born and raised in Boston. So she was born and raised to take no shit. And then she says she was a very physical kid and has experience with a punching bag because in elementary school, her teachers would report that she was punching boys all the time. So her mom got her a punching bag and stood her in front of it before school every morning so she could throw some punches at home instead of at people. So, okay.
So KJ invites her to the house for the weekend, tells her to bring PJs. And she's like, is that you asking me to sleep over? And he says, yeah. And she's like, is that the best you got? And he's all, yes.
It was so cute. He's
adorable.
So honest.
He's so earnest. He was on Watch What Happens
Live.
That's
the word. Oh, come on.
Yeah, he was great. He and Mark Consuelos were on after last night's episode. Yeah. KJ he seems completely, you know how Kyle Richards goes on Watch What Happens Live and there's Beverly Hills Kyle, and then there's Watch What Happens Live Kyle. KJ is just KJ. And I love
What
that
an
for him.
easy life.
Hmm.
What lovely ease with which to move through a life when you
Yep.
can just be the same guy everywhere. And then it's that thing of like, it's that lighthouse thing of like, you'll attract the people that are really meant to be in your orbit. And it's sad because other people will go away because you're not trying to like please everyone, but like you'll only cultivate meaningful relationships. And I love that for KJ because I love KJ.
Darrow was in the audience. They were still very much together.
That's so
And
sweet.
he is, what I love so much about KJ is that I don't think it's in him to act too cool for school. I think Andy asked if they, like, do you guys say I love you to each other? And I think they do, but like, he isn't out there acting like, no, she's not that, whatever, she's cool. He's singing it from the top of the mountains, KJ style. And that is a kind of safety that I needed when I was dating. I needed to be sung from the top of a mountain. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. And their relationship is such an example of like what's meant for you cannot miss you. So if you
Yes.
remember, KJ met Dara at Ben's mixer in the city. Then Dara came to a party out in the Hamptons and he had no recollection of meeting her at all. She had to remind him, I met you this week. And he was like, oh God, I'm such an idiot. And like, if it was meant to fall apart, it would have fallen apart right then. But they both really liked each other and they both continued to get to know each other and they seem to be good people and a good match. So I'm so happy that they're still together. That's adorable.
Looking even more giddy now than they do filming this season. Yeah,
Cute.
it's darling. It's darling. Oh, Margie. Gnarly. Gnarly. This scene was so amazing.
This was at
God, I love
Kyle
it.
and Amanda's apartment, and I loved it because the editors left in Amanda's feeding their dog Reese a little snack, and it's adorable. And Kyle comes in with this super sweet tone of voice, going like, "Reese gets a snack," and Amanda goes, "Yes." And then instantly the whole mood changes, and Kyle's like, "I'm a zombie. I can't sleep more than 90 minutes at a time." And then we get a conversation between it just feels like Amanda's already on her way out. It's that like the emotion is just gone. She's just in acceptance, and acceptance can be a real energy sucking bummer. And that's what it felt like in this kitchen. Because Kyle is complaining about being overscheduled, but then in the same breath says he's going to sign with a manager who's going to book him even more DJing gigs. And I really noted Amanda's approach on this was just to ask him questions, which I thought was really interesting. She said maybe cutting back on some of the new careers you'd taken on, like would be supportive of reducing your load, your stress. Maybe you could feel better if you change some things. You know, she just presented the option instead of saying, you need to, blah, blah, blah. And then Kyle is just defensive. He's unwilling to change. You know, it's just so clear. There's nothing he can drop from his schedule. And again, I have workaholics in my life and I know this conversation. It's just like you are not willing to prioritize your own sanity ahead of your addiction to working, attention, money, whatever you think is bringing you peace.
The lack of disconnect when she would say something to him and he would just stare at her or kind of look off blankly, like she was speaking a different language or he did not understand or was willfully not understanding what she had to say.
I don't think it occurred to him to consider what she was saying.
Wild.
He kept saying, she's not seeing my perspective. This, that, and the other. And then he says some really hateful shit in his confessional that I'll never forgive him for. Yeah, he's not considering, you don't have to agree with her, but can you take a breath to be like, let me think where she's coming from on this. Oh, right. I married her and committed to her. She asked me, please stop partying and be home more. And I've taken on a whole career and I'm about to bring on a professional team to get me out of the house more, be out later, be away in other states more often. Cool. And I'm with him. Like he says here, DJing is bringing him money and it brings him the most joy of everything else. And that was the one moment where I was like, oh, Kyle, that's the truth. And that means you need to be brave enough to let go of Amanda. I'm so glad you found your joy and it does not align with what you promised your partner. So you got to go.
what I wanted to ask him is, what is your criteria for joy? Like, is the joy coming from the accolades? Is that the joy? And if so, is that like a real joy?
But does it matter? If their definitions of joy are not aligning, that marriage should be done.
For sure. For sure. I don't know if joy based on accolades isn't like a house of sand, do you know?
It is, but this is that whole thing of like, it's not up to me. Like, again, this is me talking from what I'm trying to incorporate, integrate into my own life from what I'm learning in therapy and Al-Anon, which is it doesn't matter what I think of it. If it's working for them, like Kyle comes in complaining, then he talks about wanting to be busier, then he bitches about Amanda. Like none of it's bothering him. It really bothers me. And I don't see how you can enjoy a life built on misery, outside affirmation. I don't get it. It feels vapid and sad and lonely. Oh God, it feels desperately lonely to me.
And never enough.
But I'm not Kyle. And so Kyle, that's why I loved Amanda just asking questions, gathering information. How
Yeah.
long do you plan on doing this for? Forever. I'm confused. We don't ever talk about this DJing thing because I didn't marry a DJ and now I'm the wife of one. And she asks, so you're in nightlife now. You're going to be traveling all the time. That's what it's going to be like. And then we head into the confessional that made me want to, again, put a fist through my TV screen. When Kyle goes, I just don't understand how she doesn't see it from my perspective. He says he's making money and simultaneously promoting Loverboy. But I would note that he doesn't seem to notice or care what it's costing him. And he makes this claim, which is so out of pocket. He says, Amanda could care less about my business, my debt, my employees. Some of them have families. You would think that would matter to Amanda. It's like,
Unbelievable.
oh my God, Kyle, I think all of those things matter to Amanda. But what matters most to her is you as her husband. So you can try to make this as Amanda's a selfish bitch, or you can just understand that this marriage has like run its course. Like you're not available to her in the way she needs you to be, and you don't want to be available to her in that way. And that's fine. It doesn't make anyone a bad guy. It's just time to get the fuck out before you say hateful shit like she doesn't care about people with families. She doesn't
Unbelievable.
want them to have health insurance. Okay.
Also, she helped you like create that business. You know, she is responsible for the only reason why I could recognize it on a shelf at
And
a
this, yeah.
Bevmo.
Yeah. And this is the shit that I hate about. It's just, I don't like that everyone else has to be bad in order for you to be good.
Yeah.
Can't people just fucking live and let live and just take stock of like how sad this is that both of them entered this marriage really hoping they'd find their way, and it's gotten progressively, aggressively worse. So instead of saying Amanda doesn't care about children having health care, like that's crazy. And it's so shitty. You could just say like, I love being a DJ and I want to commit to that more than I want to be in this marriage. And that's sad to me too. That is heartbreaking. I wish I could make it another way, but they can't.
I might have even said this to my therapist yesterday when we met, but whenever I look at like things in stark black and white, good and bad, not black and white, good and bad, like you just said, I am deeply terrified about something in that moment. I am deeply terrified of being hurt. I am probably in some deep self-judgment as well. And I have to make the other person bad, or that means I'm bad. And if I'm bad, oh God, what's going to happen? You know, that's my worst fear. And so I'm not saying that's what he's doing. I'm just saying that like when I'm doing that, I am when I'm black and white thinking, well, not all the time, but like I'll black and white about politics all goddamn day long, you know? But like when it comes to like when I'm having conflict with someone I'm close to, or if I'm untangling something painful and I find myself speaking in absolutes, that's a sign for me to look at where am I trying to defend myself right now? What am I trying to protect myself from?
Yeah. And I think I get so sensitive to it because I've been on the receiving end of that, of like someone who's being confronted with something they don't like about themselves, but I love them. And so when they turn it on me, it's so hard to figure out that how can that not be about me? Like, I love you and you know I love you. Like, it's a very, but Amanda, again, I was just so impressed with her just being like asking questions, gathering information, and then leaving. And I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
there's some Prozac and therapy in the house right there. I love that.
Totally. She just seems really in acceptance of what's happening. And he
Yeah.
is absolutely like not, he's not along for the ride. She's making mental plans. I think she's coming to terms, and he is just, I don't want to say he's business as usual, but he's not willing to even entertain. Like he can't even get to that point where Amanda is. Like not even a little bit.
He won't see her and he won't hear her. He
Mm-hmm.
just is so committed to like she's wrong.
Yeah.
But that doesn't save a marriage. And
No.
so the
No.
outcome is what it is. And her acceptance is not without pain, as we
Hell
see
no.
in that mid-season trailer when they're all in their wigs sobbing.
Yeah.
12 Step Rooms, they say we cease fighting anyone or anything. And it's just like she's stopped fighting. She's
Yeah.
stopped fighting Kyle being who Kyle is. And what that is leading to her to is the saddest outcome of like, and so it's not my lifetime match. And I thought it was. And that is so much grief,
So much grief.
but so much courage to let that chapter close and
Agreed.
not just, again, sit in your own diaper just because it's warm.
Ew. Yeah. Totally. So then it's the following weekend. We are returning to the Hamptons. Carl, West, and KJ are driving to the Hamptons together. West asks Carl about his date with Bailey. Did you think it was a date? I mean, I didn't know if I didn't either. I can't tell if Bailey has, I for sure know that Bailey has massive affinity for Carl. Is it romantic? Is she interested in making out with him? I don't know. I don't
But
know.
I think in that way, like when you're single, everything's a date until it's not. You know what I mean? Like you're
Interesting.
feeling it out. It's like, I don't think it wasn't a date, but I think if you do lunch, you take all the pressure off of anything needing to happen or needing to be walked to your door or any of that shit.
Lunch
But
crush.
right, per
Just
West.
kidding. Just kidding.
I think they were both kind of feeling each other out, Carl says they had a great time. The boys ask if they kissed. He said they did not. And Wes says he thinks Bailey's going to lay one on him this weekend. And Carl has to remind him that Bailey is not coming out this weekend. So that will have to be put on hold, which is for the best since Lindsay is there this weekend. And that would have been, she's so rude.
She's so rude.
I'm so glad Carl didn't have to like deal with liking someone with her watching him. That would have just been atrocious. But Carl in a confessional is very honest and says he'd not initially clocked Bailey on that level. But over the last month, he's been vibing with her. And he says, I find depth of conversation with her that I really enjoy. And he has a bit of a crush. And I love that.
I do too.
I love a little crush built on something like an intellectual connection, ahead of just like a boing connection. So they're both exhibiting some maturity and just exploring it at that level, seeing if there's anything there.
Then we see Mia and Amanda driving in, and Mia had been in Miami for her boyfriend Scott's restaurant opening. She brought Sierra to Miami with her as her date because her boyfriend was going to be really, really busy, Scott. Mia says that she is so overly proud of him. I feel like I've been kind of a bitch the last few weeks. And them being long distance has been challenging. And Amanda said, you can still be frustrated and proud. And I am so guilty of being frustrated by a very busy partner. I also agree with Amanda. I can be frustrated and proud, but I also really need to, and this has nothing to do with Mia, what she's saying or doing. I'm just talking about as someone in a partnership with someone who's very busy because of his job. My husband deserves me stretching myself in considering what he has on his plate more. Because a lot of times I am just in my tunnel vision, what's in front of me, what what do I need from him to get this done so that I can, do the next thing or on my ADHD brain timeline. And like, I have been working more on considering what is on his plate. Josh makes everything look so fucking easy all the time that I never stop to think that my one more question or my one more request might push him over the edge. And I tell him this, but it doesn't matter that he makes it look easy. I want to, and I am practicing being more aware of everything on his plate, not just how he can help me accomplish my shit. Because I have such a hard time accomplishing my shit. And I tell him it's because you make everything look so fucking easy. I don't know how you do it. I compare myself to him a lot. It's not okay. We're completely different people. It's just like, goddamn. I'd like to know what it's like to be Josh Higgins for a day. Just a day, an hour. What could I get done being Josh Higgins in an hour? Anyway, I did not mean to make it about me, but I was just, when Mia said, overly proud of him, and I feel like I've been kind of a bitch, Josh will sometimes remind me, you're freaking out about this one thing while I have this massive project going on that's due in a day, and it's like you don't even think about that. And I'm like, oh, shit. But it's because he doesn't ever look like he's got something due in a day. You know?
Yeah. I admire and envy the way Josh moves through the world.
My God.
He literally does what I spend my life in therapy trying to do, which is he just does the next right thing.
Same.
Whatever's in front of him, he makes the call or he has the meeting or he makes lunch and it's just so, I don't know. There's so much grace in how he exists and I really admire it. And yeah, but it's not that, you guys are a great match because you're not the same. It's because you bring out different things in each other, which is, I'm sure, what Mia and Scott bring out in one another. I'm sure he would have been devastated if she hadn't been there.
Absolutely.
Even though he was busy flying around, they showed a bunch of pictures. By the way, the space does look gorgeous and the food did look amazing. And there was one picture of them doing a bump of caviar off their hands. And I think that probably meant so much more to him than he could ever articulate. And I'm sure the rest of the night he was flying around talking to everybody else and making sure everything was going smoothly. But to have your person in your space on a night like that, I'm sure it was like everything to him. But yeah, like you're talking about, distance of any kind puts pressure on a relationship, whether it's someone working a lot or actual physical long distance. I didn't behave my best. And I was in a long distance relationship for a few years and that was not the best version of me. It's hard, but they seem like they're doing good.
They do. I really like Mia.
I love her. She's
I really
amazing.
like her a lot. Yeah. So we learned that Kyle is turning 43 this weekend, and Amanda reports their relationship is hit or miss, but she's going to put on a happy face for his birthday weekend and hope he's in a good mood. And this was such a chilling conversation to be in on, because I was like, oh, she's just strategizing. Like I've said that before, like, okay, like when I know I have to do something, I'm like, well, I'll just carry a Xanax with me and that way I can make it through. And then I listen to myself and I'm like, what am I saying? What kind of coping is that's not that's not how you do this. But it's just speaking on where she's at. It's just so, I can't believe we're just seeing it all. The pieces are just falling. The sand is crumbling before our eyes.
In my experience toward the end of relationships, before I had mustered, or the courage was in me to end it, but it hadn't arranged itself into a solid unit to propel me to do it. Sometimes that is the best method. It is sort of just getting through it. And as my first therapist would say, it will suck and then it will be over.
Yeah.
It's just like sometimes it's his birthday weekend. It's not worth trying to solve our marriage this weekend. I am at work. This is my job. And so I will be here and I will smile. It didn't happen without, we're only at the beginning of that weekend and they already have like one interaction at the dinner table that made me be like, please pull the cameras and mics off of them. I'm so uncomfortable. Like, oh God.
Oh, yeah. God, you're right. You're right.
Speaking of Kyle, Kyle and Ben arrive together, and Kyle makes a joke saying he's going to exercise moderation this weekend, and they both laugh. And Kyle says he's taking his grandmother's mentality toward his birthday. And his grandma always used to say, you're only as old as you want to be. And who actually wants to act their age? And both these guys go, not me. And they cheers to that. And like, honestly, I'm not opposed to that sentiment, but something about the two of them, I'm just like, I don't want to hear this from you guys. Not today. So I'm happy they're happy.
I think it's because we don't really see a balance yet, you know? If Mia said, I don't want to act my age this weekend, I'd be like, oh my God, please act a fool, do whatever. I want to see it, and I want you to just have joy. But when have we ever seen Kyle act his age? We've never seen Kyle act his age.
And it's just more information of like, then you should be with someone younger or someone who also doesn't want to act their age.
Right.
Because Amanda is like notably maturing and you're mad at her for it. So that's not fair. And then I died laughing. Lindsay arrives in an Uber and she goes, I'll give you 5 stars and you'll give me the same. And the Uber driver was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, is Lindsay like trying to like boost her own Uber rate? Is she noted as like a terrible passenger?
I can't think of another reason why one would ask that.
That was
she
so
must
weird.
Be. She must be, right?
She must have had some sort of disciplinary action by rideshare companies to give a shit what anyone rates her.
Of the things that have, and trust me, my brain is crammed with the most stupid bullshit. It is a torture. Sometimes the thoughts that come in my head, I don't think one time I've ever thought, and this is shocking because I'm often like, oh God, am I a dick? Am I, like I often think like, does everyone hate me? Not often, but like when I'm having a bad day, I'll take everything personally. But I can confidently look you in the eye, friend, and say, I don't think I've ever thought when I've left a rideshare, oh no, I'm going to get a bad rating. So if Lindsay is concerned about getting rated a 5, what are you doing in your cars?
I don't
Just
know.
don't be a dick. I don't know. Like, it's not hard. I don't know.
I can't imagine. And then Jesse arrives alone and he comes in with more singing going, honey, I'm home, and like puts a bunch of vibrato on it. And I loved it because no one was home. No one was inside the house. So I was like, good. I'm glad you didn't get any attention or applause for that. And he has come with Sierra's bag because she will be coming direct from Miami after being with Mia at the restaurant opening. And Jesse tells everyone that he's chipping away at repairing his friendship with Sierra after last week's,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I wonder what chipping away means to him. Interested to know.
I think it's like little acts to reestablish trust like this.
Yeah.
Of like, I said I'll bring your bag and I brought your bag. And
Yes.
we're going to take this small of baby steps because I have created a huge mess and it can only be picked up one grain of sand at a time.
I'll allow it. So Carl, Wes, and KJ arrive, and KJ reports that Dara is coming to the party and will be spending the night, so you guys will see the vibe this weekend. I love it. They're so cute.
Every time he talks about her, he's fighting a huge smile. He has like a little telltale dimple that goes on when he's like, you guys will see the vibe this weekend. Like he looks all like coy and cute and smitten. Adorable.
They were on Watch What Happens Live last night, so it's like 8 months in, and they look even more smitten now than they did in these first 3 weeks of them dating. So I'm excited to see what happens with this relationship. Oh, God. You want to talk about Carl and Lindsay? Talk about Carl and Lindsay, Margie.
Lindsay's just so disappointing to me.
Me too.
It's years ago that they've broken up now. She has a whole baby. She just doesn't, but she's putting so much energy into making Carl feel like shit. And it's really a gross look for her. She's too old to be behaving like this. Like you can be vindictive and lame in your 20s, but like it starts to become a character defining trait when you're in your late 30s and early 40s. And I'm not enjoying it. So Lindsay asked Carl like, oh, what's going on with your hair? Did you get a new cut? And he's like, no, I just didn't put any product in it. Just taking it easy. And then Carl very sweetly tries to, it's awkward conversation. Like they're trying to get over these first few interactions that are going to be awkward just because it's two human beings trying to figure out who they are to each other now. So Carl's like, did you get your hair cut? It looks nice, shorter. And she's like, no, not recently. And just sits in that silence. And then she makes a real big meal out of saying like, just working on a friendlier relationship here. And it's like, you don't that you don't have to do that. She's being a deliberate piece of shit. And then she just walks off and Carl throws his hands up. He literally is like, I don't, what? Like, he doesn't know what to do. It's so unnecessary. And it takes so much energy to be bitchy like that. If Lindsay could just relax and be in the discomfort for a minute, it would pass so much faster than the shit she's stirring by behaving like a child, like a petulant asshole. And it's over. The engagement ended years ago. Shut up. Or if you're still mad, don't come to the summer house. What are you doing, weirdo?
I feel for her. Like I love, like I said a couple weeks ago when we saw her at the Australian singles night, the fact that she's walking in with that relaxed approach, that relaxed, like the pressure's off in regards to meeting men. Like I loved watching that. Everything else about Lindsay is just making me really sad for her because as someone, there are a few things I can relate to with Lindsay, but again, and I'm projecting obviously, but when I see her treating Carl like that, like I wasn't in the relationship with Carl. I watched what happened. Sure, I can make an opinion on it based on what I was shown, but I wasn't there. So maybe there was other things. I feel like Carl's been pretty upfront about his part and things.
His sobriety depends on it. So I'm inclined to believe him.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. And so seeing her say these things, it doesn't make me think less of Carl. It makes me just go, Lindsay, dude, you're so defended. You're so defended. You're so unwilling to feel pain. And so you have to make it about Carl being bad in bed or not, your hair does look different. To be fair, it does look different from when you guys filmed your last scene together as an engagement. Exactly.
It's not a court of law. He's not cross-examining her saying, is your hair shorter than when last I saw you? He's literally just trying to fill some dead air with someone who he's trying to build a new rapport with. Oh my God.
When I had to talk about exes like that, it was for a reason. It was to cope. It was to make myself feel better in a situation where I felt uncomfortable on the spectrum of sad, bad, mad, whatever. I don't talk about my exes with that kind of energy anymore because it means that if I did, it would mean I wasn't in a place of, I wouldn't be in a place where I was willing to see, admit, I'm fucking hurt. I feel humiliated still. I still feel humiliated. I still feel afraid that people are going to think that you humiliated me. And I can't. So I'm going to have to act like a total asshole to you on camera.
This is where I love KJ because we check in with Carl up in his room as he's unpacking now. And KJ comes in and asks if he's doing okay. And Carl, I love him, doesn't bullshit at all. He's like, I'm in a weird mood. And he said he's really bothered by Lindsay's energy toward him and her shit talking him to Bailey because he'd found out that Lindsay had said some negative things about Carl. And Bailey, surely not knowing how much this would hurt Carl, passed it along to him at the lunch they shared. And Carl says, it just caught me off guard, some of that commentary, and I just want things to be okay. I just wish I wasn't so sensitive. And KJ goes, I totally get it, man. And he shares that he ruminates about other people and he lets that ruminating affect his mood. And he says basically that he's here for Carl as he works through this and they're going to have a good weekend. And I love both of them. Neither one of them was rushing the other through it. KJ was like, I totally hear you. I see you. I am you. I get where you are. And I'm not going to talk you out of it and say let's rally, let's fuck it up. It's just like, yeah, man, I know what that's like. And you're not alone.
You got this. Yeah. They didn't toxic positivity out of it. Just pure validation, acknowledgement, honesty. In this scene, I don't want to go so far as to say it gave me chills, but I was so grateful to get to see it because those are the kinds of conversations that I have in my close relationships. Look, this is what's going on. I can't fight it,
And KJ said that's the healing part about it is just saying it out loud. He's like, when I ruminate on it, it fucks with my mood. but when I'm vulnerable and share about it, it's hard, but I'm better for it. And
That's
Carl
it,
was like,
dude.
yeah, man.
That's
And
it.
I feel like you could feel Carl feeling better in the course of this conversation. And as KJ exited the room, I'm like, Carl's going to be okay this weekend. You know, it's like, it really is like the power of just saying shit out loud to a trusted friend is
Exactly.
massive. I
Massive.
loved it.
I
I
loved
love
it
these
too.
two.
I do too. Absolutely. I love it. Love it. Love it. Oh, so Lindsay, Amanda, and Mia talk with Sierra about West. Mia speculates that he's in love with her, but that doesn't mean you have to be in love with him. And I don't know that West is in love with her. I think that he's very attracted to her. I think he's very fond of her, but in love, I think if he was really in love, he wouldn't be so. Like, I could tell last week when he was talking with Ben, the subtext read to me, I think she's so hot and she's so rad and it was so dreamy to be with her. But am I willing to give up strange, cute girls sliding into my DMs and like hooking up with them on a Friday night for this? I don't know if I'm there yet, you know? And so, like, I just feel like if he was in love with her, it wouldn't be a question. Like, he wouldn't have any kind
I
of.
don't know. I guess
I don't know, though. I don't know.
I feel like he is in love with her, and like you're saying, he's not ready to hang up the other part of his life. Weirdly, it's like my mom and dad. My dad loved my mom. He thought they were so funny together. They shared a intellectual connection, and he wasn't willing to stop extracurricular activities. He just wasn't. And that's what caused the pain. Like now, you know, both my parents are in cognitive decline, and my dad has no recollection of the woman he married 15 years ago. He always asks about his wife Diane, my mom.
Oh,
But
shit.
that's love. And he did some insane shit, you know? But I do believe he loved her. And I'm not saying that that's the kind of love you commit to for a lifetime. But I think why West is so bothered is that he is in love with her and he doesn't want to do the things that would be the next step of commitment to honor her. And that's a painful place to be. They're just not aligned.
Amanda says a lot more work would have to be done on his end if Wes was try again with Sierra. Agreed. He would need to profess his love and need to enumerate all of the ways that he would change. And Sierra says, and this is all we need to know, he never says what he feels. I think he's getting better at it. But again, I just am not in the mood to watch someone like Sierra tolerate as someone figures it out. You know?
You can't, she said you can't control. She doesn't want to do this either.
I
None of us do.
know.
When we're
I
in the, I don't
know.
want to be, I don't want to, but I love the person. And so it's just like, I wish it could be so simple as that's why when breakups happen and people are like, you're so much better than him. You go, girl, move on with your bad self. It's like, that's not helpful.
Yeah.
I loved that person. And I totally get why it is foolish and you all are like, go fuck yourself. But it's not rational. So like, I don't know how to have a rational conversation about something that is biologically programmed in me. And it's just gonna, again, it's tearing apart the tightest Velcro to let go of someone you love, even when they suck.
Yeah. It's so easy for me to offer my opinion on it because I'm so far from where the two of them are. But you're right. You can't help it. You can't help how you feel, regardless of what the facts are on paper, dude. You can't help it. If she wants what she wants, I just don't think that Wes is going to be the one that's going to be able to fulfill those needs that she has.
And I think she knows that. And that's why she's saying these things out loud to her friends of like, he doesn't say how he feels. And she added, like, certainly not in this house. You know, in the televised portion of our lives, he's real quiet about how he really feels about me. And then Lindsay, God, she's such a shit stirrer. She's like, she asked Sierra, would you ever give West another shot? And Lindsay's like, because for me, I'm certain I would never give Carl another shot. And all the other girls are like, we know. But it did help contextualize this for Sierra because she says, you know, I don't feel the way you do, Lindsay. So I guess in a way the door is still open. And I actually think that's a healthier place to be, you know?
Yeah. I think they have unfinished business for sure.
Yes.
And I remember feeling so much relief when my therapist or my sponsors or my friends would say, Ramona, you have unfinished business. with this person.
Yeah.
And that's why you just need to like relax and whatever happens will happen. But like, you know, you can try to like force yourself to not be intrigued by whoever. But if you are, you are. And anyway, I don't know if I'm making any sense.
You are. And it's that thing with a breakup, for me at least. I have to have I have to have the same conversation with that person as many times as I have to until I believe them when they say they're not going to change, or when I hear them lie to me again, or
Yeah.
it just takes as many times as it takes for me to give up and be like, God damn it. Okay, fuck. So I don't know. I'm so curious to see what the path of West and Sierra is
Same.
this summer house season. Now it is the evening, Friday evening, and Sierra and West briefly cross paths in the hall, and it's a little bit awkward on West's end, mostly, I think. And we have a little confessional from him where he says, do I need to like apologize for the drunk back rub? Did I make stuff weirder? And then he lets us know that the worst thing is to be cringe, and he can't remember if he was. And I was like, West, you're very simple.
Yeah.
In that moment, he was very simple. But again, I equate that confessional to Sierra's confessional at the beginning of this episode. That was like, it's just a little messy and crazy. And it's like, it's so much deeper than that. And it, with racism in both of their DMs, you know what I mean? It's so much deeper than that. So like, God bless everyone trying to keep it superficial, but this has massive, complicated stuff at play. And then we have this interaction, which just, again, tells me Amanda's done with Kyle. As everyone's getting ready to leave for dinner, Kyle whines at Amanda, Amanda, am I going to be hot? And he's wearing khaki pants and a white shirt. And Amanda yells at him, I don't know, I'm not you. And then Ben rounds the corner in khaki pants and a white shirt. And she goes, that's a nice outfit, Ben. And I was like, oh my God, you hate Kyle.
Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah.
And this is her trying to put on a happy face and be nice for his birthday weekend. She can't. It's over. It's just done. She's burned her last calorie on that man.
Honestly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So then the cast are at dinner and Lindsay brings up Carl's date with Bailey. So Carl mentions Bailey passed along that Lindsay had told Bailey, yes, go ahead, go for Carl. Bailey told Carl, Lindsay said, she gave you 2 thumbs down, but go for it. Lindsay says that she told Bailey, he won't have sex with you, but he's a great conversationalist. Dude.
It's just so cheap and shitty and old. It's just like, oh my God, dude. And then we get the requisite, obvious confessional from Carl where he says, I wasn't having sex with Lindsay at the end of our relationship because the foundation of our relationship was shattered. We were on unstable ground. And then he tells us, which felt like damage control. He's like, oh, early in our relationship, Lindsay said it was the best sex she'd ever had. And then Carl just boils it all down to saying, I get called out for being a fuckboy and I get dragged for taking things slow. So I can't win. And if it's true, you just have to do what works for you at any given moment. And I have faith in Carl's choices.
Same.
They seem very sane and he seems really good. So
I agree.
I don't care who he's sleeping with or when. He doesn't seem like he's at risk of relapse. And that's great. That's all there is.
That's all there is. He seems so sober. Absolutely. 100%. Oh my God. Yeah. So Kyle, okay. So I don't know. I'm sure you've had that dynamic where the other person, like one of your feet's out, but both of their feet are still in. And they're needy, and you're just like, oh my God, I can't with your neediness. You're so gross.
In fairness, I've been on both sides of that.
Of course, yes, yes.
I have certainly been the Kyle where I'm like,
100%.
Hey, hi, do I look pretty tonight?
Yes,
Like,
absolutely, absolutely. But like in this instance, he is just his neediness. I've never seen him so needy.
Well, and I think he feels entitled because it's his birthday weekend.
Gross.
So basically, Kyle asks Amanda for a sip of her drink, and she says, it depends how nice you are the rest of the weekend. And Kyle goes dead behind the eyes immediately. And that to me, I thought like, oh, you think because it's your birthday weekend, everyone should just say like yes and give you what you want. And then with like this really ugly charge behind it, he goes, I am being nice. And I was like, I hate this. I hate this.
Yeah. It's brutal. It's so brutal. It's so fascinating. It's like watching animals in a zoo. So Carl says KJ brought Dara with him to a running event, and Carl really liked seeing them together. And Mia asks KJ, what do you like about Dara? And he praises her emotional intelligence. Again, I really encourage everybody to watch his Watch What Happens Live. It was super good. I like them together so far. So
I just love that he opened with emotional intelligence as opposed to last week when we hear Jesse going like, yes, Sierra's hot. And obviously we're getting along. And Mia asked directly, what do you like about her? And he's like, oh, her emotional intelligence. I was like, oh, because she is hot. She's gorgeous. Dara's a gorgeous girl. But KJ is, I believe him when he says he's most drawn to like how he can connect with her emotionally. It's sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Then everyone asked Jesse if he has any advice he'd like to pass on about moving quickly in a relationship. And this is, of course, referencing the mess he made of his relationship with Lexi just last year. Let's not forget.
It feels like forever ago.
It does feel like forever ago, but he was getting his toes sucked and lying to that girl and, using Sierra to piss everyone off or what is the word? Rehab his image. Anyways, Jesse just, again, taking no responsibility, clearly has not learned anything, tells KJ, just take it slow. And KJ's like, I am. And then the rest of the house chimes in and says, how about you not omit the truth like Jesse did? How about you not use Sierra as collateral like Jesse did? And how about you not talk to the press? And then this opens up pretty quickly into a conversation about West and Sierra's relationship. And this is where I did appreciate West. Like, he found an opportunity where people were mostly sober and the time was right. And he spoke clearly and thoughtfully. And he said if he knew then what he knows now, he would have handled things very differently. He learned when he was on the other side of people talking shit about him in the press that it's gross to talk about your relationship publicly. And he says to Sierra, I just want you to know I see you way more than I did prior. And Sierra's, receiving this appropriately with some skepticism. And she said she appreciates that and says that it sucks that he had to experience it himself first before he could grasp what it was doing to her. And to West's credit, he doesn't fight her on that. He gets it, and like that to me, that's a sign of growth. Like, again, anyone who can sit in discomfort, I see you. And to me, I feel like that's valuable. That's hard.
I agree.
And he didn't fight her on her feelings, and he didn't try to shirk responsibility. He was just like, true.
Yeah. Oh, and then Sierra tells the table that what they all don't realize is the interracial aspects that exist in this dynamic, in West opening up, just them dating, even before he started talking about the relationship, just the fact that they are dating as a Black woman and a white man. And when West repeatedly talked about her in the press, she had to feel comments about her dating white men and being played by one so publicly. And they can't understand the blowback she was subjected to, being the first Black person in the house. And West shares that he and his family also received DMs calling him racist. He panicked and thought telling the story publicly would help when he now realizes it caused more harm. And he just says, I didn't know, and I apologize. And then Kyle goes to open his mouth, and Josh, as soon as Kyle's all, we were like, oh, God. Like, I didn't care if he had the most amazing, evolved thing to say. I just didn't want Kyle to be the first one to pipe in. It just was so Kyle. I know it's been tough, but I know at the end of the day, he loves you and respects you. Oh, okay, Mr. CEO. Okay, great. I'm so glad you said that. Now we can all move on.
Thank you for your like generic corporate calendar saying. And Sierra just says like, and same, basically saying I love and respect him. And then she says to West, I just expected more out of you. And West says, I apologize. And I was like, that's the best you can hope for at this stage of an apology. People get so impatient as if an apology, someone saying I'm sorry, should end any feelings. It doesn't. But at least I believe that West understands what he did wrong, and I believe he's sorry for it. I appreciate Sierra continuing to be honest with him and saying, I expected more from you. It sucks that you don't have empathy, actually. And until it happened to you, you couldn't believe what you were doing to me. And there's even bigger shit at play here, you know? They're not done with this. And then we go into this, like, literally, like, I caught my breath. Sierra is in a different outfit. So clearly this confessional is happening later. And she's just breaking down in tears. And it takes her a while to collect herself. And this is where she says, regardless of how we feel about each other, it's about the way it looks to the entire world. And that invites criticism of her, unfair criticism of her. And she says, if I could help it, I would, but you can't help who you love. You can't help who you're attracted to. He was my friend and we do care a lot about each other. We have a much deeper relationship than anybody has ever seen. And then she says, but yeah, I'm bracing for impact, especially when this shit gets ready to air. It's a fucking headache. And I believe every word of that.
Absolutely.
And whatever comes of any of this, I'm so on her side. I can't imagine what it's like to field shit talking from strangers and people you feel like you've been handed a responsibility to represent. Like, that's so overwhelming. And to be told you did it wrong would be devastating, especially when you love this person. And clearly they have a deeper relationship than what's shown on camera. And I love Sierra. I love
Me
her
too.
honesty. And I hate that. Yeah, I hate to see her sad.
And then KJ, he just breaks it down for the rest of the table. He says his sisters go through this, so he's witnessed Sierra's pain by what they have experienced. And he tells them, it may seem from your perspective that Sierra's complaining, but it's just reality. This shit is fucked. It's not normal. And I don't expect you guys to understand because you're not in our skin. And he shares that he also feels pressure as the first Black male cast member, like he's being watched so closely and has to plan 20 steps ahead. And he was in his head so much for the first few weekends, stressed out about exactly that, how what he was doing would be interpreted by viewers in his community. And then Mia says, I know that KJ got the talk given in most Black households to conduct yourself in a certain manner so you're not seen as a threat, scary, or angry. Oh, my God. And then Kyle makes it about himself by saying, I have a temper and I can pop off without thinking 20 steps ahead. Yeah, because you can, Kyle, because you can. Because historically, people that look like you, when you pop off, nothing happens.
Well, and I love KJ for saying, like, he was shutting Kyle down, being like, I don't want you to feel like guilty or whatever. And Carl jumps in and says, we just want to have your back and support you and just make sure we're doing our best to make you feel like we're with you in this. And Amanda follows up on that saying, I think it's our job to be family and support one another instead of giving people opportunities to tear one another down. And I thought Carl, and you can tell who's in therapy and who is not. Kyle's like, well, I never face any consequences. Sorry. And KJ's like, please don't. And Carl and Amanda give such, it's not centered around them. It's
Yes.
like, this is about you. And however we can be supportive we're here for that, and we'll be conscious of that. And I love them for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Amanda tells Sierra that she loves her and they hug. And then Sierra tells KJ, like, KJ, you make me cry. And then they both start crying, KJ and Sierra. And she's like, you're just like my shit little brother. And I really believe that, like, there's a love and a bond there that's, like, especially given the content of this conversation, is invaluable. These two human beings are having a different experience. And I'm so glad that conversation happened so they know they have each other.
I do
It's just
too.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was a really good episode.
Yeah. Same. Loved it. It was invigorating.
Yeah.
And I'm very compelled, just like in the reality TV watcher in me is very, very compelled. And I'm excited to see the rest of the season. Can't
Yeah,
wait.
me too.
What else did you watch this week?
Well, it started light. I watched Below Deck Down Under, which is just cotton candy, and I love it. And then I watched the Oscars. I watched all 4 fucking hours of the Oscars, and I'd only seen one movie. But I will tell you, the Oscars is a great commercial because, like, I didn't want to see Sinners because I was afraid of it. Someone told me it was a period vampire movie, and I was like, that sounds scary, and like I won't get it. But watching clips from it on the Oscars, I was like, oh, it's about death and music. Like, these are two of my favorite things. Like, of course I'm going to see this movie. And anyways, I watched the Oscars, and then I started watching The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. And then my weekend took a turn. I was like, this is sad. And then all this news broke, and it's just like darkness, darkness, darkness. So I don't know. I don't know if I have it in me to pick it back up. I got a couple episodes in, and it didn't start great. So I don't know if it's going to get better. But, you know, it exists, and I'm curious. So maybe if I can find the energy, I'll revisit it. But that's what I watched. How about you?
I also watched a few episodes of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, but it was season 3. We still haven't finished season 3, and we put it on the other night, and this is before the most recent news about Taylor Frankie Paul came out. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's harder for me to watch. Like, the more we progress in this timeline, the harder it is for me to be invested in any of this shit. So my point is that I did watch some season 3 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, finished season 2 of The Gilded Age. Wonderful show. Beverly Hills. Can't remember even what happened. And the Oscars. And Sinners is great. When I told people about it, like I understood that it was being categorized as horror, genre speaking. Mm-hmm. But to me, that was so secondary to everything else. And I was very sad that it did not win Best Picture. But I don't know. It was pretty #Oscar so white again this year, I have to say.
Except for that cinematographer who won for
the
Sinners.
Cinematographer was
the first female ever to win that award, and she was amazing. And
first female/female of color.
And the K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yes,
like, that was the performance of the night.
Yes,
you know, Misty Copeland coming out of retirement to give a big middle finger to Timothée Chalamet. Misty Copeland, who's a black prima ballerina who retired and just had surgery. But because Timothée Chalamet said that ballet and opera are dying art forms and how glad he is not to be a part of those, Misty Copeland was like, I'll come out of retirement and I'll set aside my physical therapy and I'll just go ahead and get on point and fuck you, Timothée. So great.
Honestly, what a stupid thing to say.
Well, he got his ass handed to him that night. And if there was nothing else that came out of the Oscars, I'm glad that happened. And that movie didn't win anything, and great.
The Schadenfreude eaten was good that night. And friend, what was your antidepressant?
That was my antidepressant, was the Oscars. So I got to go watch it with a friend of mine who I haven't seen in a while, and 2 other friends who are just they're delightful. They're the literal odd couple. They just like bicker the whole time. They're 2 gay men who love movies and then bicker about everything from the volume to the cheese to the everything. And it just made me laugh so hard. They're wonderful. My friend is great. And I really loved the Oscars. Like I said, I don't know. I was really excited about how excited I felt about Sinners. And before the cinematographer won that award, there was some clip of Sinners they showed. And I turned to my friend and I was like, Jesus Christ, who directed this? Like, it's gorgeous. Like, the shot they showed, this long shot that just kept pulling out to reveal like a bigger scene that was happening. And it was like beautiful and impossible. Like, I don't know how it happened, but it was great. So then when that cinematographer won, I was like, oh my God, I haven't even seen the movie. And I'm so happy. Also, my dance teacher was in it. He was on stage dancing around, which was lovely to see.
Aww.
And my other favorite thing about the Oscars was Wendy McClendon-Covey, who everyone was like, why isn't Wendy with the Bridesmaids cast? It's 15th anniversary and she's not there. And everybody created this bullshit about there's some drama with those women. And Wendy, God fucking love her, on Instagram posted her with her bandages around her neck saying, hey, there's no drama. I was tired of looking like a melted candle, so I got a neck lift. And I was like, yes, like, yeah. I love her. I love her for not organizing her schedule around the Oscars. She's on hiatus and she will be shooting St. Denis again soon. And she's like, this is the time to do it. I don't care about Hollywood. I'm getting my neck lifted. Also, thank you for destigmatizing something that most people want or get. And like, I just loved her whole attitude about the thing. And I loved her addressing it. And she, again, the post was her in her bandage. So she's like, I didn't feel great because I just had my neck tightened. I love her.
I do too.
So the Oscars on all of those fronts brought me great joy. So that was my antidepressant. And how about you? What was yours?
Kristen Wiig's hair and face. Oh my God. She looked so good. Her outfit. So good. I was just happy to see her work. The Oscars is one of mine. I went to my friend Lee's house and watched it with her. We had a really good time watching it together. So that was really fun. And I did cry a couple times. I also, Leo had a birthday party. We had his birthday party at a vintage arcade a few weeks ago, and I played a lot of Tetris. And I was like, God damn it, I hate this fucking phone so much. I'm going to buy myself a Game Boy, and I'm going to buy myself a Tetris cartridge, and I'm going to just fucking zone out with some good old-fashioned Tetris on a Game Boy. And so I went on eBay, and they both came this week. And so I have been playing Tetris, and it's so fun, and it feels different playing a game on a Game Boy than it does on my phone.
It is.
And I'm really so grateful that I now have that. And this is going to sound weird, but I have been untangling some really painful shit for the last month and a half, I'd say. And I really thought oh my God, I've met the thing in therapy that I'm never going to be able to fucking get over. This is it. And I just was having such a hard time for the last month and a half that I didn't see a way through. I was just so confused and in pain. And then yesterday I had a really good therapy session. And then last night, while Josh and I were watching Summer House, all of a sudden I had these insights. After you and I talked, Margie, oh my God, that's another one of my antidepressant is our phone call we had last night.
Yeah, that was great.
I did not want to pick up the phone when I saw you calling because I know when you call, even if it's something logistics, I know you're going to say, how are you? And I can't lie to you.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot lie to you,
Same.
nor do I want to. So there have been times when you've called me and I'm just let it go to voicemail because I can't deal. And I've been in that place probably 2 times since I've started unpacking this shit in the last 6 weeks, whatever. And yesterday when you called, it didn't even feel hard to pick it up. I didn't want to, but I didn't have to have a conversation with myself. So that I think helped. And then once Summer House started, I paused it and I looked at Josh and I'm like, I think I'm figuring some shit out about what's been going on. And we talked for about a half hour, 45 minutes. And I woke up this morning, even though nothing's been resolved, just having clarity and not just being in the vagueness of why do I feel like this? Why do I feel like I can't get out of it? Just having clarity. I got up before my alarm went off. I got more things done today. I have energy back, even though nothing has changed except for things are getting clearer. And when I have things I can work with, I feel less intimidated. So I feel like I have a new lease on life, even though nothing has technically changed. So thank you, friend.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's it. I guess, I feel a little vulnerable sharing that, but
No, that's
okay.
that's what it's all about.
Gotta get in touch with my inner KJ,
I know. Yes.
It's good to feel really inspired by more than one cast member when I'm watching this show. Carl, KJ, Sierra, Mia, probably Amanda. It's nice to see humanity
Yeah.
via Bravo.
Yeah.
It is.
And
It is.
it's that whole I try to remind myself the you spot it, you got it thing isn't always a negative thing. It's when you see something lovely in someone else, it exists in you. I like to remember that too. And I feel like KJ is a nice little beacon of that, of there's so much I like about him that I want to remember to cultivate in myself,
Same.
Just he seems really present and really honest and really he really keeps it simple. When Dara asks him, is that the best invitation you can give me? And he's like, yes. He doesn't feel shame or try harder. He just is
No.
yes, I said what I meant. And will you come and bring your pajamas?
Or have to ask an Uber driver to give them
Good
5 stars.
Lord. I'm
So,
talk about
honestly,
ruminating. I could not let that go. I was like, what was that? What was that? And it better come up at the reunion because I don't think I'll be able to let it go.
Wild. Well, everyone, thank you so much for listening. And take care of yourself this week with as much loving kindness as you can. I will also ask myself to do the same. I could get better at that. I'm not going to lie. It is a very familiar pattern for me to hate myself when I'm having a hard time. And that does not feel good nor help things. But
It's a practice, man. It's a practice.
it's a practice.
It's
practice.
never meant to be complete. It's just effort, little efforts. Well, thank you everybody for listening, and we will talk next week.
We'll talk next week, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are obviously not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.